After you watch this video, I have a very important business idea to share with you all, and I think that this is something that many Cameroonian youths are lacking on.
What you are seeing me do right now is wash my hands with tomato. As absurd as that sounds, this is the reality on the ground. A farmer wakes up every day before sunrise, spend money on seedlings, on fertilizer, on pesticide, on labor, spend weeks under the sun managing this crop, and when harvest finally comes, when they reach the final line, there is nobody to buy it. There is no market, there is no buyer, there is no cold storage, there is no way for the harvest to go. So it rots, or in this case, it washes my hands. And what makes this even more painful is this. Every single day, somewhere in this country, someone is standing behind a microphone telling young people to go into farming, go into agriculture. The future is in the soil. Farm and you will eat. That is true, but nobody is building the system that supports farmers after the harvest. Nobody is solving the market problem. Nobody is solving the storage problem. Nobody is solving the infrastructure problem that sits between the farm and the consumer.
Okay, now let's clap for that speech. You see, this is the problem with many Cameroonian youths. You see what this guy said here? This reflects 90% of our youths. You see, many Cameroonian youths lack this attitude of thinking how to convert finished products to raw materials. And even our adults, many people don't think about how to combine factors of production or creating a company. Many of us don't think like that. I will give you a clear, solid example. You see a young man who learned welding. And according to him, his scope of learning welding ends in making doors and window frame for houses. He doesn't know that by learning welding, it's easy for him to create machineries that he can sell that will even give him more money than doors. And this is exactly what you're seeing on this video. You see, this is a farmer that he has had a bad produce. Rather than thinking about what to do with this tomato so that he doesn't lose his money, he is thinking about how bad the government is and how bad the roads are and how bad the situation is. And he ends up doing nothing about it and throwing his produce that worth a lot of money. I know our farm to market roads are very bad. This video is not to water down anyone's effort or to make us feel like our government is doing well. Our government is really bad. Now, if you travel out of Cameroon into many of these developing countries, you see that the wastage of food is very less. It's minimal. We waste more food in our country that we don't even have the food than in many of these developed countries. Now, why do I say so? You see, many developed countries, they think about how to transform food to other means that will help to preserve that food to last longer, or will help to preserve that food or transform that food in such a way that it's easy going for the people. You see, this tomato here that has spoiled and is in this condition can easily be transformed to tomato paste. But he never thought about it like that. The only thing he thought about is the fact that the government didn't do this, the government didn't do that. Let me tell you, in our economy, if we have to make our economy stand, if we have to make our economy good, right? The government has its own efforts, but we as a citizen, we have our own to play. One of it is investment, transforming your mindset and become industrialized. You see, we lack that industrialization mindset in our country a lot. Although the government is also bad, but the citizen and the people also lack that mindset. Now I've been observing, these are the things that I've observed as a Cameroonian. We lack the production mindset and the creation of job mindset. Then also we lack the mindset of accountability. We don't force accountability into our systems. Forcing accountability into our system is not just the job of the government, but also the job of the public sector. We need to create that culture of accountability. And the second thing is corruption. That's a fact. If we have to change our nation, we have to start thinking of industrialization. And it's very easy to be industrialized. Just think about how to transform a product from one stage to another. Invent machineries that can do that task. That's all. That's how easy it is. So I think that is the problem of the mindset. There is a long story I want to talk about this, a very long story. For those who don't know my background, I was that kind of young man that since from the days of school, I grew up in business. My father had a provision store, and since in my university days, I've always been thinking sharp. And I'm one of those Cameroonians that it's sad that I've traveled out of the country, but I'm one of those people who were never on the fact that any child or any Cameroonian youth should travel. But unfortunately, life is not what it is. I traveled out of the country. Now, sometimes, although I have traveled out of the countries, I still see opportunities back in Africa, and I envy and I feel bad. Sometimes I wish that I could still live the life here that I was living back home, because I see some opportunities that where I am, I don't see those opportunities. Now, let me explain my story. While growing up as a young man, I have always had the production mindset of producing things. Now, I had my first business when I was young. It was a brand. called Volcano, and it went pretty popular in Cameroon, and I made a lot of money from it. Then after that brand, I moved into doing photography and filmmaking. I also made a lot of money from it. That's the money I used to travel. But what I want to encourage young Cameroonians is that if I never travel out, I won't know that we had this opportunity in Africa. You see, in Africa, it is very easy to start up a business, to start up a company. It's very, very easy. Now, let me tell you this out of experience. In the university days, when I was in my university, I had a brand called Volcano. I was able to work with my friends with no money. I'm even on the project of writing a book about this with no money, and I was able to raise more than 1 million from that. It was a clothing brand called Volcano, something like this, so that you all can see. Now, with the money I had and with the mindset I had, I could upskill. And lately, I got into photography and filmmaking. That is what led to the birth of this page that you're watching this video from, Volcanic Pictures. Now, I did filmmaking and I made a lot of money. And after that, I traveled out of the country. But when I still look back in Cameroon or back in Africa, I still see those opportunities that it's very hard to get it somewhere else. As a young man, that I've always been someone who creates opportunities, creates businesses. When I see something like this, I see a business opportunity. You know, many farmers have the problem of spoiled produce, and at the end of the day, many of them just complain. Now, this is a very big business opportunity for those who are wise and can understand. Turning tomato fruit into tomato paste is not a difficult job to do. It's not very difficult. It doesn't involve rocket science. Now, this is something that I've been preaching for a very, very long time about our people. Our people don't think about transforming raw material. They concentrate on selling tomato, and they don't know that tomato can be transformed to tomato paste. And you see, most of the vegetables that we have, if you go to a food market, you see a lot of spoiled commodities that they are throwing it out. Those things can actually be turned into food. Tomato can be transformed to tomato paste. So if you're a farmer, you're incurring this kind of losses, learn, go to YouTube, learn about how to transform tomato to tomato paste and transform it to tomato paste and sell it even within your neighborhood. We know the normal sachet tomato in the quarter is quite expensive for a small quantity. Now, if you have these losses and you don't want to lose all your money, transform that tomato to tomato paste and you sell. As well as a farmer, you should be thinking about vertical integration. Now, vertical integration is a skill in business that you upskill. Rather than focusing on raw materials, you upscale to something else in the same product chain. For example, you're a tomato farmer, you upscale into producing tomato paste, you upscale into exporting tomato. Every Cameroonian farmer needs to think about that. Because if you want to make money, that's the only way you can really make money.